right, let's continue this pantry tour. So, warning, we have lights that turn on and off in the basement, so I will be moving around so that I can keep lights going. And it's a little bit dark down here, and I can't figure out how to get my light plugged in without going outside and getting an extension cord. And I'm going to be really honest, it's really cold and really windy outside, so I don't want to go get the extension cord, so I won't be doing that. So before we go into this pantry challenge, I am kind of uploading videos of our pantry to see kind of what we're working with when we go into the month of January and do a no grocery shop challenge. So the first thing that I do, well, the very first thing I do is we will focus on using anything that's left over in the fridge from the holidays, anything that's upstairs that just needs to get used to make room in my fridge, and also just to use things up. That is one of the keys of being frugal in a large family, is not wasting. I hate waste. Waste is like taking money and just burning it. And so we have to be super intentional about not wasting. We are a lot of people, and sometimes that's a little bit hard, but it's still something that we have to make a priority over. I also have to put a disclaimer out there. I do have an Amazon order coming in that has like my toilet paper and paper towel. So I will be stocking that. That was already ordered, but it's not going to be here till after the first of the year. So I'm ordering that now so I don't have to stock up during the month of January. So we are in my basement, and I am so excited. Even though it's a Michigan basement, it's a very nice Michigan basement. It's plenty tall enough for me. We have cement floors. We have amazing drainage. We have a part that is the old cement wall, or they're rock. The walls are rock. We did have an area that we had to cover with metal because it was just wide open to the elements, and it really caused a mouse problem down here, and we have gotten that under control just with that little bit of tiny chicken wire. So that's logistics of this basement. And it's very cold, so I have my coffee with me. I'm gonna be drinking my coffee. Well, it's morning and I love coffee anyway. So as part of this pantry challenge, I told you we want to use up, use up, use up. So don't let leftovers go. And I'm also cooking in a way where there shouldn't be a ton of leftovers. This is a month of, we will cook 3 meals a day, every day, which is what we do. I mean, I sat here and when I say it, it sounds like, oh my word, but that's how we live. That's what we do. So this is not new to us. So we will just try to keep the leftovers down so that we don't have waste. And the other piece to this challenge is that, let me go turn the light back on because it's getting dark. I run 2 freezers, and I have the small refrigerator freezer upstairs. Now, for a family our size, with as much as we put up, that's really not terrible, but our electric bill is ridiculous. So for this pantry challenge, one of the things that I'm going to be doing is using what we can out of the freezer. But the other piece is, I have a lot in here that needs to be canned, because when it got really busy in September, it was just too busy. And I was starting school, so instead of canning it, I threw it into the freezer. So I'm going to be able to get a lot of this frozen, and no, I'm going to get what's frozen out of the freezer and on the shelves where it has a more stable shelf life. The other piece is, I have a couple things that are a couple years old. Now, when we moved, I didn't move anything into this house that was more than 3 years old. But I have a couple things. This is potatoes and roast, and it's got like potatoes, roast, celery, onions. Now, I can do this as a soup, or I can do this as a breakfast where we just fry it up and eat it with like cornbread muffins, or I could do it for a meal. I have 4 of those. I want to use these up. So I kind of have gone through my pantry to see what needs to be used up. I have sweet potatoes. Oh, I don't think you can see them. Now, I grew these guys. So we have lots of sweet potatoes. These need to be used up. We're going to use these up this month. Now, I do have things like butternut squash, but those last a lot longer than, say, sweet potatoes and potatoes. So I will be using the sweet potatoes and the potatoes up. I also have some onions over here that look really bad. So I'm actually going to be cutting those up on, they even start to smell bad. So I'll just be cutting those up and throwing those in the freezer. So when I am canning up soup mix or whatever I'm canning up, I'll just pull that out, or we'll saute them. We love sauteed onions and peppers, and I have tons of frozen peppers, so we'll be eating that on things. So first step of this challenge is to clean out the fridge. And then the second step is we are going to be trying to move some of this stuff out of these freezers. So before I start, like say, breaking into, I have lots of canned green beans, and I have green beans that we've purchased. Before I even break into those, we're going to try and make a dent in all the spinach and kale. We have a lot of frozen fruit. I told you about that in my other video. Now, for the frozen fruit, I make that into a lot of smoothies, or we just eat them. I let the kids sprinkle a little bit of sugar. I wish we could do it without sugar, but our palates don't like that when it's frozen. So we will just eat a lot of sugar, or a lot of fruit with a little bit of sugar on the side as a side to our meals. I try to make sure that our meals have a protein, a starch, a fruit, and a vegetable. We don't always get the fruit in there. We always get the vegetables. So I want to make sure that every meal has, when I say starch, I mean some kind of grain. And so, or a potato, that sometimes if it's a grain-free meal, then it's a potato. I also need to can up beans. When I say beans, I mean hard beans. I only have 13 jars of hard beans right now, and that is because the time we have been living in this house and doing all the things, so the time to can the beans has not really been available, and I use a fair amount of beans during January, February, and March, and so I need to get those canned so that we can be using those, and I will show you how we use those. We like beans, so we will do a lot of just beans, like on bread with mozzarella cheese, or we will make refried beans with our beans with tortillas, and we're going to be making homemade tortillas this time go around. So it's a lot of work. Feeding a family this size and feeding them well is somewhat of a full-time job. I'm in the kitchen quite a bit. Now, disclaimer, I don't love to cook. It's not like I'm like, oh, let me try all these brand new meals. I'm not worried about trying brand new meals. I do every now and then, a couple times a month, I'll try something different. But for the most part, I kind of do the same things because we have a large family to feed. I know how to do it. I'm efficient. I'm fast with what I know what to do. And so that's really important for me. One more trick I'm going to show you. Did you know you can buy bananas in bulk? Not that most people want to buy bananas in bulk, but they just had them at the store for 50 cents a pound, and that is literally an excellent price. So I went ahead and bought more. Now, it is very cold in my basement, so these will stay a little bit. I kind of have them up. I don't put anything that's open or fresh against that wall over there, because that seems to be where we've had the most problems with mice. But over here, we don't seem to have the problem yet. So we are going to be eating off those. Well, what if they start to get yucky? We just throw them in the freezer. We just throw them in the freezer, and then we eat them frozen, or we eat them in things, or we bake with them. It's the same with apples. You can keep a lot of apples in a basement, and if they start to get soft, all you have to do is make applesauce or apple butter or apple pie filling, or quick make an apple fruit crisp. Fruits like that will not go to waste. They will get eaten. And it's like any other fruit. You can throw it in the freezer, so it's not going to go bad, okay? So this is, I think, the third video I'm putting out about our food pantry challenge. I'm going to go ahead, I think, and just do a little tour of the pantry, and maybe I'll even post that before I post these other ones. I'm not really sure. So anyway, this is our challenge, and this is what we're doing this month, and I'm going to be intentional about videoing and sharing the food that we're making from our pantry. Have a blessed day.